All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to crack the code on one of Python's most powerful tools, the dictionary. We're going to break down exactly what they are, how they work, and maybe most importantly, why they're kind of like the secret language that powers a huge chunk of the modern web.
So let's start with a quick thought experiment. I want you to think about something. What's the real difference between, say, a grocery list and a contact list on your phone? I mean, a grocery list, that's easy, right? It's just a sequence of things: milk, eggs, bread. But a contact list, that's different. It's not just a list of numbers. It connects a name to a number. You've got a label, the name, and the data it points to, the phone number. Just hang on to that idea for a minute.
Okay, so that idea of labeled data, that's exactly what a Python dictionary is all about. It's not just a simple list of items. No, it's a way to store information where things are connected, where they have a relationship. So the core, the absolute building block of any dictionary, is what we call a key-value pair. And honestly, the best way to think about it is, well, a real dictionary. The key is the word you look up, right? And the value is its definition. It's that simple. You give Python the key, and bam, it hands you back the value.
All right, so to really get why dictionaries are so cool, it's super helpful to put them side by side with something you're probably already familiar with: a simple list. Let's see what makes them so different.
Okay, imagine you're trying to store the number of days in each month. The list way would look something like this. Now, if you wanted to get the number of days in March, you'd have to remember, oh yeah, list started 0, so January is 0, February is 1. March must be index 2, so you'd write days 2. And sure, it works. But come back to that code in a week. What on earth does days 2 mean? It's totally not obvious. But now let's look at the dictionary way. Here we can use the month's name, a meaningful piece of text, as the key, and the number of days as the value. So now if you want the days in March, you literally just ask for days/March. See that? The code just makes sense. It's readable, it's intuitive, it basically explains itself. So here's the bottom line. Lists, they're fantastic for simple, ordered sequences. You know, when the position of an item matters. First, second, third. But dictionaries, they're your go-to for labeled information. Anytime you want to look something up using a unique, meaningful name instead of just a number, a dictionary is going to be your best friend.
Okay, enough theory. Theory's great, but let's get our hands dirty. The good news is, working with dictionaries really just boils down to 4 basic moves. Seriously, once you nail these 4, you can do pretty much anything you need to.
And to show you how this works, we're going to use this simple little dictionary right here. We've got student names as our keys and their grades as the values. Nice and simple.
So here they are: create, access, update, and delete. We've already handled number 1. We created our dictionary. So now let's walk through the other 3: how to get stuff out, change it, and get rid of it.
Okay, check this out. What's so cool is that adding a new student and updating an existing one use the exact same command. It's super elegant. So here, we're adding a new student, David, and giving him a grade of 88. Simple. But then, for Bob, well, Bob was already in our dictionary, right? So this line doesn't add a new Bob, it just updates his existing grade from 85 to 89. One command does both jobs. It's brilliant. And there you have it, the result. You can see David has been added to the list, and if you look at Bob, his grade is now 89. The dictionary just dynamically changes to fit whatever we need. All right, next up, getting data out. The most direct way is to use the key in square brackets, just like this. Student_grades, square brackets, Clara. And that'll give us her grade, 92. But there's a catch. What happens if you ask for a student who doesn't exist, like Emma? Your whole program could crash with an error. So the safer way, the pro way, is to use the .get method. If you use get Emma and she's not there, it won't crash. It'll just calmly return, well, nothing. It's much safer. And the last move, deleting. What if you need to remove someone entirely? For that, you use the del keyword. It's as simple as saying del student_grades Alice. And just like that, she and her grade are gone from our dictionary. So here's our final dictionary after all those operations. You can see Alice is no longer in there. It's just Bob, Clara, and David. See, managing the data is actually pretty straightforward. Okay, so we've learned the moves. Now let's put them together to build something real. You might be surprised to hear that with just what we've learned, we have everything we need to build a simple language translator. For real, from scratch.
So how would we do it? Easy. First, you just create a totally empty dictionary. We'll call it Spanish. Then, one by one, we just start adding our key value pairs. The English word will be our key, and the Spanish translation will be the value. Just like that.
And after adding just a handful of words, we've got ourselves a working translator. Now we can just ask our dictionary for the Spanish word for hello, and boom, it gives us back hola. This is a perfect example of what dictionaries are built for. Super fast lookups.
All right, now for the grand finale, the big reveal. Because this whole time, we haven't just been learning about some neat little programming tool. No, this data structure, it is absolutely fundamental to how the entire internet talks to itself.
You see, whenever a program, like your browser, asks a server for information, we call that an API request. The data it gets back is almost always in a format called JSON. And here's the secret sauce. JSON is, for all practical purposes, a Python dictionary. It's the same thing, just keys and values. So, take a look at this. This is a real response from a random advice API on the web. At first glance, it might look a little complicated, right? But don't be fooled. All this is a dictionary that has another dictionary inside of it. The main key is slip, and its value is that whole other dictionary containing the ID and the advice. So, the million-dollar question, how do we get that piece of advice out of there? It's just a two-step move, that's it. First, you ask the main dictionary for the value associated with the key slip. That gives you the inner dictionary. Then you just ask that dictionary for the value of advice. We're just using the exact same access move we learned a few minutes ago. Nothing new.
So here's the really crucial point. By getting a handle on Python dictionaries, you have also learned how to read and work with the #1 data format that powers the web. They are literally the building blocks for how programs talk to each other online. It's a huge deal. Think about it. We went from organizing student grades to building a translator all the way to understanding how to get data from anywhere on the web. The dictionary is the key to all of it. So now that you know this, now that you know the secret language of the web, the real question is, what are you going to build with it?